Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this live series that we're going to do to kick off 90 days of purpose. Stop sabotaging yourself. 8 things you do to block your own success. I'm Simone Elbow, the Limitless Life Coach, and I am so happy to welcome you to this series simply because I believe that it's time. It's time that we stop blocking our own success. It's time that we stop wishing and looking at through the window at other people and feeling like, you know what, they've got it all together and I don't. We have the ability to do the things that we have in our heart to do. But there are just some things in our lives that we do that stop us. And we tend to think that, we have to have these perfect conditions for us to really be successful in life. And I have discovered that that's not really true. What's really true is that a lot of the responsibility for our success, aside from all of the things that are outside of our control, there are tons of things happening right now that are outside of our control. I'm talking about the things that are within our control that we can actually change and make different in our lives. And so I'm going to be going through the next several evenings, taking one of these success blockers at a time, and we're just going to dig into it. And if you follow the group, we have a private group called The Limitless Life. We're going to have additional exercises in there. That's a private group. And so we'll have exclusive content in that group if you want to join that group. And I also will put in a website here which will allow you to connect to by email. So if you want to just not join a group, like, I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes you feel a little grouped out, or you may not just, be that type of person to be in a group, but you can definitely still have a part of the activities and the extra assignments that I will give. And so you can just log on to that website there, and I'll try to get it into the comments on Facebook. It's the limitlesslife.ck.page, and I'll just have that run across the screen as well. So once you can log on to there, all we need really is your email address, and we will send you and keep you updated on all of the extra assignments. Listen, this is the time of the extra. This is the time of doing the work, putting in the work so that you can get the results that you want. It makes no sense us going from year to year, month to month, week to week, day to day, blaming people and circumstances for why our life is the way that it is. We can blame Corona. Corona caused a lot of things this year. So everybody is talking about, you just need to pack up 2020. I believe that, some very bad things have happened and some very disturbing things. And it's a struggle to stay focused. It's a struggle to keep yourself together and to even plan ahead. For a lot of people, it feels like, why even plan ahead? But I believe that this year came to reset us. This year came to help us to refocus and to reprioritize. And I believe that we can still end this year strong. And we can't wait until the new year. We can't wait until 2021, January kicks in to decide that we want to plan for the new year. We're already in there. And I think that's the first mindset shift that we need to have. We always think that we have to wait on the new year, on the start of the month, on the start of a week. Listen, we have a new opportunity every single day to start again, to start something that we need to start. All of those things are just excuses. And that's one of the ways that we sabotage our success. And so we want to just dig into this, into the things that we do to stop us from living the life that we say we want to live. There's no reason why we can't. So I'm going to see how I can share my screen. You may lose visibility of me, but I want us to cover this one particular area tonight. And we are going to go the next few nights, like I said, covering the rest of these areas, the ways that we block our own success. And as I mentioned before, you can join the Facebook group. There's a private Facebook group called The Limitless You. I'll put it in the chat as well. And you can request to join that group, or you can log on to that website there, and that will give me your email, and I'll be able to keep you on track with any additional assignments and check-ins, because that's what coaching is all about. Coaching is to keep you accountable for your own targets. So let me know what you are thinking about as far as, where you are with this new year. How are you feeling so far about 2020? Talk to me in the chat. Where are you at right now? Because it is time for us to start planning, but we also have to acknowledge where we are right now. So for me, I had to take some time off. I had to really recalibrate and see where I was at, because this year has just been a lot, and it's been a lot for a lot of people. And so I'm not giving up, and I just had to shift some things and do some things differently, both mentally and emotionally, physically, everything, in order to get to where I want to go. All right. So please feel free to share that in the chat, and we're going to get rolling. No, I can't see. Let's see. Where am I? Okay. Now I'm where I want to be. Okay. So as I mentioned before, this series is called Stop Sabotaging Yourself. 8 things you do to block your success. And so tonight I'm just dealing with one of these areas, and I want us to just take it in and to see, does this fit with me? Is this where I am at in my life? And it may not be, but it's still good to know, because you never know when it may come up for you later on in your life. And you want to be able to recognize it and deal with it right away. So why am I doing this? A lot of the things that I do, and I tell people that I do out of inspiration, and I do basically out of where I am in life. And I feel a lot of times that I'm just tired. I'm tired of being sick and tired. I'm tired of feeling stuck. And a lot of times we blame so many things in our environment. We blame our environment. We blame where we live. We blame society. We blame, it's the haves against the have-nots. It's my skin color. It's my size. It's all of these different things that make us feel like we are stuck. But I want to just share with you tonight that being stuck is not a destination. Stuck is not where you are supposed to be hanging out. Stuck is not where you are supposed to be living. Stuck is temporary. Stuck can be changed, and we are going to get unstuck before this year ends. And that's why I'm doing this series, because before we could start talking about setting goals for 2020 and setting resolutions, which I don't do anymore. I don't set resolutions anymore because it really doesn't make any sense. We don't stick to them. We don't need to wait until January to set them. We should do it now. Last year, I started on wellness goals from November. I didn't wait until 2020 came in to say, okay, now I'm going to kick in with these fitness goals. No. I needed to do it then. That's when my mind was ready. And it took me actually all of those last 2 months of the year just to reset and reframe my mind to even think wellness. So there was a lot of shifting that had to happen even before, as I got started. And so sometimes we need that run up, as we say in sports. I'm not an athlete, but I've heard that before. You need that run up, you need that warm up to get yourself geared up for the destination. So stuck is not a destination. This is not where you're supposed to be. This is not where you're supposed to be hanging out. But one thing that I have realized, and one of the classes in my studies, in graduate studies in graduate school, we were studying change and change models. And one of the things that struck me, never left me, and actually ignited in me this passion for change and transformation, was that your desire for this new thing or this place of this vision that you have for yourself or for anything, it could be for a company, for you personally, for your family, for a relationship, for your children, whatever that is, that desire has to be greater than the pain of where you are now. That hit me like a ton of bricks. The desire for what you want has to be greater than the pain of where you are now. The funny thing with us about like human beings, we adjust. We are such unique beings. We are adaptable, but yet we love sameness and stability. We love sameness and stability, but we love variety and excitement and risk. That's just the weirdness of our humanity. But we get so comfortable in our discomfort. We get so comfortable in the same old, even if it pisses us off, even if it frustrates us, even if it makes us angry. This is why we stay in bad situations. You don't want that change bad enough. I hate to break it to you and to bring you this little bit of bad news. You don't want it bad enough. Because if you wanted it bad enough, you would press past your pain in order to get there. You would press past your comfort level. And this is why, despite COVID, I haven't reached my fitness levels yet. Why? Because my desire for this thing that I want, this figure that I'm after, is not greater than the comfort of some comfort food that I like, that I don't want to give up. Hello, somebody. And so until I'm ready to give that up, and my desire for the place where I'm trying to get to becomes greater than that, then I'm not going anywhere. And I'm going to stay sick and tired. I'm going to stay stuck. But I'm here to challenge you tonight that stuck is not a destination. So a little bit about me before we go on. Why am I doing this? Who am I? Who is Simone L. Bowe? Well, I started my career as an educator several years ago in the early 90s, just to give you a little clue of how old I probably may be. And I transitioned into human resources and corporate training as my career evolved. And I got this love for human resource administration and human resource development, particularly. And I really, really loved getting in there and seeing people with those aha moments and creating those moments for people to learn and to love learning and to change their behaviors, which is what training is all about. And it really shifted me into speaking. And I'm so grateful that I've had the opportunity to speak in so many different parts of the world, in the America, in Africa, in India, even virtually, through the Caribbean, Jamaica, and other places. And actually in the morning at 4 a.m., I have to be a part of a panel discussion in the Middle East. Let me tell you something. You're talking about getting over discomfort to get to where you want to go. Sometimes that's what you have to do. The presentation is at 4 a.m. because of the time difference. So I'm really grateful for those types of opportunities. And I also am a coach. So as you will see, the Limitless Life Coach is my brand, and my brand focus is about unleashing your personal power, getting people to understand that you do not have to wait for someone to give you power because you already have it. All you need to do is to shake those shackles off your mind of those limitations and limiting beliefs, societal limitations that have you believing that you can't get to where you need to go. And once you unleash your personal power, you can amplify your brand voice. You can speak up, you can be visible, you can be vocal, and you can share your value with others. So this is what I do in coaching. I'm also a mentor. I have a private mentoring mastermind called Dream Trust. And at the moment, I have 12 very special people that I work with and provide support to. 12 young professionals that I'm very proud of, doing great things in their lives, and looking to open another cohort of that after we get past this. In 2021, I'll definitely open up a new cohort for Dream Trust. And I am an activist, and I am all for human rights. I am all for equity, fairness, and justice for all. I'm an activist about educational reform. I believe that we just have to do things differently when we talk about learning and developing people and children and young people. And I'm an activist for gender equality, but gender in the true meaning of the word, because I get very frustrated when I see people talk about gender and it only refers to women. So believe it or not, I'm an activist for men. I'm an activist for male empowerment. And so I host every month. And in the next couple of weeks, we'll be having another episode of Men Speak. And it is a platform by men for all of us to understand, respect, and support men. And so that's just a little bit about me and why I'm doing this and what possibly may qualify me for this. And as I mentioned before, that's my do. Those are the things that I do. But what's my who? Who am I? And I believe that my who is really what qualifies me, not all of those things that I've done professionally in my life. But these things that I am prepared to talk to you tonight about, and in the coming nights or morning, wherever you may be in the world, is really about the things that I have struggled with personally. These are the things that have caused me so much pain, have caused me to feel stuck, have caused me to get sick and tired. And I have realized that now is the time to shine. Now is the time to not feel like you got to hold back, you got to wait for permission, you got to wait for things to get better. No, 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 no. We got to be limitless, y'all. And limitlessness is in us already. It's just about expressing that. And so really, the things that are holding us back is something that psychologists call self-sabotage. And you may be saying, self-sabotage, you don't understand. You don't understand all of the things that I've had to go through in my life. But I hate to break it to you. It is self-sabotage. And self-sabotage simply means that it is a pattern of thinking or behavior. A pattern, which means that it's a behavior or a mindset that you repeat. So it means that you're doing it over and over and over again, and it's holding you back. What behavior or mindset do you repeat that holds you back? Because it is self-sabotage. You are blowing up your own opportunities. You are stopping yourself from operating fully in your potential, fully in your gifting, fully in your calling, fully in your purpose. You are doing it. So I'd love to hear from you. If you drop it in the chat, put it in the chat. What behavior or mindset do you repeat that's holding you back? because it's a pattern of thinking and behavior. So here's a clue. You may find that you may say these things. Why do I keep doing this? And one of the things that I'm going to talk about this week is, well, I won't give you a clue, but it's something that I say all the time. I may have a deadline and I wait until the last possible minute to work on it. And then I will say, well, this isn't my best. You know, if I had done this, if I had given myself more time, I could have done a whole better job on this. Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep doing this? Why do I wait until the last minute to get stuff done? Or we may ask this question, why does this keep happening to me? I used to say that too. Relationship after relationship, I'm heartbreak after heartbreak. Why does this keep happening to me? And then you make these vows to yourself, right? Next time won't be like this. I promise you. I promise you. This is not happening to me again. And then what happens? A few days later, a week later, a month later, a year later, whatever it is, it happens again. This is self-sabotage. A repeated pattern of behavior or thinking, but it's really thinking that triggers the behavior that you keep repeating again and again. And so the first one that I want to share in this episode tonight is the blame game. So make your notes, take a screenshot, whatever it is that you need to do. But this is thing number one that we do to block our success. And that is the blame game. We blame other people, circumstances, the environment, all sorts of other things, and not our own fault or responsibility when things do not go the way we want them to go. So we blame others, the blame game. What does that sound like? It sounds like this. If I didn't have such a difficult childhood, I could have done more in life. How many people say that? You know, I came from a family that didn't have much, or my parents, their parenting philosophy wasn't to help me. I had to struggle on my own because they didn't believe in giving you a hand up. They say, well, I'll pay for your education. I'll pay for your high school education. I'll pay for your college. And then after that, you're on your own, or whatever it may be. You know, I may have had a parent that just had their own struggles, you know, may have had their own pain that they were dealing with. And so they didn't show up properly as a parent. You may have grown up in a single parent home with just your dad or just your mom. And you feel like if only those circumstances were different, my life could be different. If only my parents had bought me a piece of property. If only they had given me a business, a turnkey business that I could have just walked into. I didn't have to be on this job. If only. We put the entire weight of responsibility for our life onto something, someone else. Here's another one with the blame game. Bad people seem to just find me. Bad people seem to just find me. How is it that as soon as I get paid, or I'm about to be paid, or I make some money, that these people, these parasites in my life always come and ask me to borrow something, or they always in need, or they always have a crisis? How is it that I end up in these abusive relationships where the person is cheating on me, or the person doesn't love me the way I want to be loved, or it just doesn't work out the way that it always ends badly? Why does it seem like I must be just have a sign on me? That's what we say, right? I must have something written on my head or something. I must have bad karma or bad energy or bad aura, all these new age things that we come up with to explain away, you know? This is the law of attraction. I'm attracting bad people and all these other things that we talk about. Bad people just seem to find me. It's always somebody else's fault. Last one. I could have done it if my coworkers weren't so mean. I asked my coworker if they would help me. I asked them I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't meet the deadline. I didn't get it. If my coworker had just done the tech part or explained to me how to use the system or had done this or that, how often do we hear these stories? We're blaming other people. And so the success strategy for dealing with the blame game is to take personal accountability. I read a book once. I can't remember the name of the author, but I'll try to find that and I'll send that. I'll drop it into the Limitless You group and so forth. But she shared in that book, that 85%, we should take 85% responsibility for anything that happens to us. And when I read that, I was like, what? 85% responsibility? Like, how could you say that? So I should take 85% responsibility for COVID. I should take 85% responsibility for my boyfriend leaving me or cheating on me. How do I take 85% responsibility for that? Those are legit bad things that have happened to me. How could I take responsibility for that? But when we take personal responsibility and take personal accountability for everything that happens, we recognize that we have more power than we realize, that we are more in control than we think, and that we do have responsibility in the things that happen to us, either by our actions or by our inaction. And what do I mean by that? So let's talk about a couple of examples. So let's talk about the 3 examples on the screen. So we could blame our childhood. I have nothing to do with my childhood. I'm a child. But as an adult, you can take personal accountability for how you live your life beyond childhood. How long are you going to continue to sing that old song about what your parents did or didn't do? Your personal accountability in that is maybe it's time for you to forgive your parents. Your personal accountability maybe it's time for you to have a conversation with your parents. Maybe you may feel that your parents try to control you too much, that the things that you studied in school and college and all of these things was what they wanted and not what you want. Now that you're an adult, take accountability for that. Because you didn't have to go to college. You didn't have to study what they said. Yeah, they may have threatened you and say, well, we're paying the bill. You got to study what we tell you. Did you have to go? No, you didn't. Could they have allowed you to study what you wanted? Absolutely. But we always have a choice. You could have decided, Mom, Dad, I don't want to study this. I don't want to study business. I want to study digital marketing or art, creative arts. And they say, well, you want to study creative arts? We're not paying for it. And you could say, okay, fine. And your next corresponding action would be, I'm looking for scholarships, getting a job, finding other opportunities to learn. Who can I apprentice with? Tons of opportunities and options in front of you that you can take personal accountability for. Would that option be harder for you? Probably. But at the end of the day, remember what I said to you about the model of change and the premise of change. What you desire has to be greater than the pain of where you are now. How bad do you want it? I would rather have the pain of hustle and struggle to get to where I want to go than the pain of regret. Because when we play the blame game, we will live in regret because it will always be somebody else's fault and we will never pull ourselves out of the slump that we are in. Let's look at the next one. Bad people seem to just find me. How do we take personal accountability for that? So I gave an example of you're trying to save money. You have your goals. You're trying to put yourself through school. You're trying to save to buy a house or whatever it is. And then you have friends, relatives, loved ones, whoever coming to you and say, man, I in a tight spot. Man, you could just spot me this. You could just help me with this, blah, 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 blah. And you give it away and you feel frustrated and angry, and because I can't just let them go. I can't let them suffer. I can't let them go hungry and all these other different things. But you can still take personal accountability for that. Because guess what? You gave them the money. You committed to that action. You entered the relationship, seeing the red flags, seeing how they did certain things. And I was thinking about this today as I was preparing. And I was thinking about all of the relationships that I got in that destroyed me. But in all of them, there were signs that I chose to ignore. So who do I have to blame? I can't blame them. I can't say men are dogs. I have to take personal accountability for my actions. I made those choices. Wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, I did. So I can't blame them. I have to take personal accountability for what I did and didn't do. I didn't speak up. I didn't say what I didn't like, or I didn't say what I wanted. I entered into situations fully cognizant of negative signs that would say this is not going to end well for you. Personal accountability. Last one, this work example. I could have done it if my coworkers weren't so mean. It's not their responsibility to help you. Now, yes, we talk about team and we talk about all these things, but at the end of the day, everybody has a right to choose. And so people have reasons for why they may say no. They may have something that they're working on. They may have a deadline that they can't stop and talk to you. And you may say, every time I try to do something, I stop and I help other people. I answer the phone. I'm doing this. Those are your personal choices, though. If you know you have a deadline, why are you answering the phone? Why aren't you trying to figure out certain things for yourself? Personal accountability. This is how you stop sabotaging your own success. So many people, myself included, looking at this pandemic and saying, boy, if only I had listened to the people in my life who would say, save for a rainy day. Get that emergency fund going. Have your X number of months of expenses put away for times like these. Now, we can't blame COVID if we ain't got no money, or we're living from paycheck to paycheck. We can't blame COVID, because the times that we took to use money for something else, or to break into savings, or to do whatever it is that we did, we made that choice. And we have to take responsibility for it. And when we take responsibility for our own actions and we take personal accountability, we are then able to take control of every subsequent action. So when we recognize this is where I am, we move now to this place of awareness. I acknowledge when I do not take personal accountability for certain things that have happened in my life, or for where I am right now. I love to make reference to the mall directory. You know, when you're in the mall and you look at the directory and there's always that, either that red dot or that red triangle, and it says you are here. That is what awareness is. Acknowledging this is where I am. And so in this coaching moment, if you don't have a journal, please get a journal. I'm going to make some journals available to you as we move through our 90 days of purpose when that kicks up in another couple of weeks. But get a notebook, one of those black and white books or a nice inspiring journal, whatever you can do. But write in there, acknowledge when you do not take personal accountability or responsibility. Make a note of those things. Write down those things that you have been doing that make you feel that you are stuck now, that you feel that are outside of your control. So that's coaching moment number one. Secondly is reframe. Think of actions to own up to your own behavior. So now if you say, you know what, I blame my coworkers for not showing me how to use certain applications, and now I feel like I'm struggling to use Zoom, I'm struggling to use this or that. What is that corresponding action that allows you to own up to your own behavior? Because you have tools at your disposal. There's YouTube. You could go on Zoom and they have tutorials. They have videos that you can watch to learn how to do certain things. These things that I do, I learned on my own. Or I put myself in scenarios where the information is being shared, and then I can learn how to do it and research it and learn how to do things on my own. So me at the beginning with my little stumbling or whatever, trying to get this presentation going, is because I'm doing all this by myself. But I can't blame and say, well, boy, you know, I have friends who could do this and I have this or that. No, I could do it myself. And if I've chosen to do it myself, then I got to take whatever comes with that. And all I can do is now say, well, I can learn better from next time. And I could say I can have this or this organized better or do this or that. Set myself up for success. It is within my control, and it is within your control. And the last thing is to reset. And how do you reset a habit? Another change model that is there is called the Lewin model of change, the Lewin, Lewin model of change, where it talks about unfreeze and freeze, where you kind of unfreeze or loosen up the old habit, and then you freeze the new habit. And really, that's what you do when you reset. After you acknowledge where you are, you reframe, you get new actions going, new strategies, a new mindset, a new belief, new behaviors. And when you continue to practice them, then you have cultivated that new habit. You have reset yourself for success. So really, you want to recognize, you want to reframe, you want to reset. And so whenever it comes that you are starting to blame someone, just take ownership. Take ownership for your actions and say, what is it that I need to do differently in this moment so that I can continue and create a new habit for myself? So I hope that this has been helpful to you tonight. I don't know if you have any questions that you would like to ask. Okay, so I see someone here on Facebook. You're saying that you already have a list of goals that you'd already thought through, and that's great. And so you just want to make sure that you are sticking with those goals, that even if you have to reset the goals, you may have to decide, well, are these goals still relevant now based on everything that's happening, on what's going on with you? All right. And so, as I mentioned, we're doing this series every night this week, and we're going to talk about these 8 things that we do to block our own success. And this website, you can go on and subscribe. You can get your email locked in so that I can send you any additional assignments that we'll go through, or you can join the Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group, The Limitless You, and you can get information there on any additional coaching opportunities. There will be live coaching if you feel that there's something that you still need to work through. We'll be doing live coaching in there, live question and answer, if you want to get some additional support. And listen, there's no shame in that game. There's nothing wrong with getting support, all right? Because we all need support. We all need support. We can't do this thing by ourselves. And so tonight, we talked about thing number one, the blame game. So in your reflections tonight or in the morning, think about how you have been blaming others, blaming circumstances, blaming situations for your current situation, and why you feel that you are not successful. The blame game is not a method of success. It is actually a success blocker. And how do we counteract the blame game? By taking personal responsibility and taking personal accountability for everything that we do. Even if we feel that it's not our fault, we have contributed to it in some way. And when we take personal accountability, we take better control of our lives. So I want to thank you so much for tuning into this. If you didn't have time to watch it before, then you can definitely go back and catch the replay, be a part of the Facebook group, The Limitless You, or you can subscribe to the email that we have in the chat, thelimitlesslife.ck.page, and you can get subscribed so that we can send you that information by email if you would prefer that route as well. So thank you so very much. Tune in tomorrow as we go through another thing that you do and I do to block our own success. Thank you so much for joining.